Now this battle right here is a clear example of why you do not fight for Parthians in the open field. Hey, how's it going? My name is Jackie Fish and welcome back to some more Total War Rome 2 Divide et Impera. This battle was of course taken from mine and Republic of Play's head-to-head campaign that we're currently doing over on Twitch TV. You can check them out every Tuesday and Thursday. We're taking a little break over the holidays, however we are going to be back in January, I think the 3rd maybe, with another installment, and I implore you to go over and watch them as we do them live, because me and Darren are getting ever closer to fighting one another, and I think over the next couple streams things are going to explode for the better, so make sure to tune in for that action because it's going to be very, very exciting. So this battle was taken from Darren's point of view. Obviously in head-to-heads I get to play as the AI whenever Darren does decide to fight them, and this battle Darren had 2 full stacks. He has an army right here which is moving to take this hill, and then he also has another army that is coming on over here which is going to also push into the city. I am currently playing as, it's not the Parthians, but it's basically a liberated Parthian faction, and they have an entire horse army which I'm going to be using to devastating effect, and this is why, guys, you do not fight these guys in the open field. It is going to be brutal. So I have some of the best horses in the game at my disposal. However, my garrison force is absolute dog shit. It is so goddamn bad that if Darren can just get his men into these streets, it is going to be absolutely over for me. It's not even going to be close. So yeah, as you can see, I have a lot of good horse archers as well as shot cavalry. I have these amazing top tier super heavy shot cavalry, basically these cataphracts, which I believe have something like 120 armor. It's insane. 110 armor. Yeah, they're absolutely just crazy about how strong these guys are. My army is pretty, good in the open field. However, as I said, if Darren can make his way into the city and basically just take me out, get his men kind of almost boxed in, he'll be absolutely fine. He also has a lot of artillery and stuff that he's going to be bringing up to the city to bombard me. However, I feel like this was a big mistake of what Darren did. He basically split his armies up in 2. So he has his main army right here, and then he also has his reinforcing army coming on over this side. And I see that pretty quickly, and I lick my lips. This is going to be an army out in the open. Crossing this field is a long distance to go ahead and get into the city, which again is what I said Darren really needs to do. And it was a bold strategy to mix his army up into 2 quadrants. In the last battle we fought a very similar battle like this. Darren went ahead and kept his army together. I think he spawned it all the way over here, and he made a long dash down the left-hand side and then into the city like this. He did end up winning that battle, however, he took an enormous amount of casualties, and he was almost on the brink of destruction. And everyone in the battle was basically telling him, oh, you should have taken this hill, you should have just immediately gone to this position, secured this hill, and advanced forward. And in that situation, I think that was a right decision to do, was to go and take this hill. In this decision, I don't think taking the hill was as advantageous, because now you've got both of your armies, your superior numbers, and they're completely spread out right now. And I basically get to use my entire cavalry army in the open field. This is exactly what I want to be doing with my army. And it's very hard for Darren to really do much about it, because he's got kind of a slow-moving army on this left-hand side. Whereas I feel like if he would have deployed his army around about here, I think would have been the maximum amount of deployment. He could have then reinforced that like kind of frontal line really quickly, whilst also scaring off my cavalry and basically just getting into this part of the map. Because I feel like once he's in this part of the map, my cavalry advantage is useless. But right now there is a long way to go, and I have a whole range of horse archers. These guys are classed as horse archers, but they are amazing shock infantry as well, or shock cavalry I should say. I also have a great amount of skirmisher cav over on this left-hand side. These guys throw some pretty deadly javelins. And again, it's just such a good faction for these amount of horses. And as you can see, immediately from the battle, I am just surrounding this position as best I can. And again, now Darren looks to try and do anything he can to basically save this army. I mean, this army is fine, right? This army is in no real danger. It's going to take harassment from my missiles. But as long as he keeps up this tight formation that he's got right now, it's going to be very, very hard for me to find any gaps in this position to really start hitting his missiles, because as you guys can see, I can't charge, these Indo-Hellenic phalanxes whatsoever. All I can do is kind of shoot my arrows and slowly take him away. As well as that, Darren also has some really good bowmen. These are some of the longest range bowmen in the entire game. So if Darren just kind of shoots and advances, he can go ahead and warn off. He's going to take casualties, but as long as he slowly moves up, these 2 units of archers will take away a lot of my horses. However, Darren does decide to quickly shove over his cavalry here. I'm going to turn around my heavy cavalry, and again, if I can get engaged in this fight, oh baby, do I want to do it. Because, again, keep this in mind, I've got an entire army of horses on my team. It's 20 units of cavalry, whereas Darren, that's only a part of his army. In total, he probably has, 10 horses. So if he wants to go and have a cavalry engagement with me out in this open field, I will take it, because I have 20 horses against his 10, and my horses are like the best cavalry in the game. So, if he wants to try and encourage a cavalry fight, then I'm more than happy to take it. Especially if I can do it away from this army as well. This army being here is, kind of scary. The spearmen are annoying, but they're slow, whereas I've got all of this speed. So right now I'm just moving in my horses, trying to, harass him with my archers as much as I can. Whilst this is happening as well, Darren is moving his army into the city. Again, it's slow, like kind of slow movement, because I've got these spike traps, I've got these other traps, I've got these barricades. So my main plan here was just to delay him as much as possible so that I could harass this army. And here we go. I managed to kind of almost kick off the battle with my cavalry right here, getting some good shots off. And one of the kind of deceiving things I think about Divide et Impera is these unit signs right here. If you just take a quick glimpse of this, you would think that, oh, it's just horse archers. However, these guys are insanely good shock cavalry. They are just extremely deadly. So, it's, you kind of assume that these are horse archers, but trust me, they are more than horse archers. And I'm going to go ahead and get a wonderful charge off in this battle right into Darren's stationary melee cavalry. So I'm just going to rip through these guys, honestly. They're not really going to put up much of a fight considering they were standing still. And I've got really, really heavy shot cavalry. I mean, you can just look at that number drop down. They are getting decimated right now. And this is huge for me. As a cavalry army, if I can, take away his cavalry, that is just so goddamn important. And Darren is doing a good job of moving this army. This army just needs to literally make a beeline for the city. And that's why I feel like having another 20 units here would have been great for him to advance forward. Because again, he doesn't have as many archers here as if he had both his armies together. More archers could have been enough to warn me off. As well as that, I've also got some more of my cavalry out on this left-hand side. We're again going to be harassing away. I just want to try and pick away these horses. I mean, there are some pretty good mercenary Parthian heavy shot cavalry here as well, which I imagine are mercenary horses. That dude even taking an arrow to the shoulder right there. So yeah, I'm just trying to pick away at his cavalry, because again, if I can take away the maneuverability he has, that is absolutely amazing. And as you can see, my shot cavalry just doing beyond amazing jobs. These guys haven't even lost any men yet. That's how goddamn good they are. In this entire battle so far, Darren is being extremely stationary, and I cannot ask for anything more, right? I just want him to stick here, with his army so depleted. At the moment, he has 3 different groups of his armies. He has the one attacking the city, he has one down here being surrounded, and then he has this huge cavalry deployment. But again, I still have so much more cavalry in this battle, so the more engagements we can do, the better. And again, as soon as he starts shooting these arrows, I have to withdraw out my melee cavalry from this battle, because they will get slaughtered by Darren's bowmen. I managed to also get a great charge off onto these archers. However, Darren quickly implements more infantry over here, and he has this really cool spear archer unit, so these guys can fend off cavalry quite nicely. Probably not heavy shot cavalry. And right here, Darren, I think, makes the biggest mistake of the battle, honestly. And it's very easy for me to say, oh, Darren, these were big mistakes. However, I think this one right here really cost him the battle. You kind of puts his cavalry, what he has left. This is 6 units of cavalry out away. Darren decides to go ahead and commit to this fight. And again, you just do not want to engage the cavalry. However, I do definitely see why Darren did this. Looking at this, it does look like I'm throwing in, basically archer cavalry. And even though his cavalry did do an amazing job, I've managed to basically engage him out in this open field. And as you can see, look how many horses I just have circling, licking their lips for this battle. So much of my cavalry is now just running over here because I have so much of it. And it's basically Darren choosing to fight, 6-7 units of horses against an entire cavalry army right now, which is just not going to go well for him. And it's going to take him ages to move his infantry over to help this. And you can see I'm just circling using arrows to come in. I'm losing horses here, but now I've got my own amazing shock cavalry to come in here. And they're just going to take away, take this cavalry downtown. The Pain Town, and look at that. The melee cavalry is just being slaughtered by heavy Parthian cavalry. I managed to catch this general as well and kill him. So again, that's going to be such a huge morale hit. And whilst this is all happening, I'm also trying to just go ahead and create strikes throughout the battle as well, looking to harass him, keep him off his guard, and break him mentally. I know that sounds brutal, but if I can stretch Darren just losing the will to fight and, kind of losing his cool almost, then this battle is going to quickly turn to a slaughter. Because realistically, Darren still does have a large portion of his army left, meaning him have a kind of a agreement that at the end of the day, the most important thing to hold is this right here. So if Darren can get his army inside, I'm going to have to try and take it back fearlessly. So that will really negate my cavalry advantage. But right now you can see my cavalry just absolutely running amok around this battlefield. Gaps are appearing. Darren is kind of almost buckling under the micro right now. You can see actually a few of my horses have also been a bit poorly microed, being hit by the missiles. These guys should be on the move for sure. I'm also bringing in more cavalry right there, but I guess I'm also getting some point blank shots onto some of his heavy phalanxes, so it's not all bad. But I had definitely cleaned up on this cavalry, and yeah, it was just really unfortunate that Darren decided to try it, because I understand exactly what he was doing there. He was trying to get his cavalry around and into his army, and I just managed to seize that advantage and kind of almost envelop him right there and take away all of his cavalry and kill his general as well, which was so goddamn big. And whilst that is happening, now I'm just charging in my heavy shock cavalry. There's nothing really to stop me now that I've managed to kill his own cavalry. So I can really take these big hits in, try and come in the flanks, surround units and kill them. I'm going to have my own heavy cavalry over here as well, doing some pretty deadly jobs on the battlefield. And again, like this assault right here is just so slow. He's only just making it into the city right now, and he's being absolutely peppered by my missile fire. There's just so much damage going off. I've got 3 units. Like, this is the only real good thing about these Parthian garrisons, are these 3 units of archers. The Parthian archers are good. Everything else sucks so much. If he could just get any infantry in on these spearmen, they'd probably break immediately. So I think, this battle is just going from bad to worse, and after losing all that cavalry now as well, I think Darren's will to fight is just in the gutter. He's losing expensive generals and expensive units left, right, and center. His armies are still so divided, and he just does not feel like he can take it back. Realistically, I don't really have a lot left, cavalry-wise. I've lost a lot of my cavalry, and if he was just to box up, maybe he could just reform up his formation. The cavalry is still running amok, but again, some of these guys are fairly depleted. A lot of my lighter cavalry are down to half strength, these 70, these down to 60. I still do have quite a lot on these heavier horsemen. The Parthian cataphracts are still extremely strong. However, a lot of this weaker cavalry is now getting taken down by the archers. Darren is trying to reform, but without having any horses left, that is going to be deadly. He does also kind of start to beat me here, though. He has a few horsemen which are actually retreating back and reforming. However, due to me being able to bring in reinforcements, it's something he can really do. And now I just look to completely annihilate this cavalry with another charge. So again, now I've killed all the cavalry. I've basically got free reign, and this army just cannot move. If it tries to move up, there's no cavalry to support on the flanks. And I feel like if Darren would have just deployed his infantry in one big blob, he would have had a much better chance. Because he could have reinforced, and he could have used his 10 units of horses basically in coordination with his infantry and archers just to constantly move forward. And if I tried to kind of nip at his heels anywhere, he would have so much infantry and cavalry to form up. I also feel like it's really disorganizing as well when you try to command 2 big sections of armies. The unit cards are all messed up, and you don't have any time to organize whatsoever. And this is just going to be a mass retreat now. Darren is realizing the battle, well, maybe the battle isn't lost. Maybe Darren could still pull this one off if he could, reinforce his army and bring them together. But he realizes that, he is just not capable of this battle at this point, and he's going to be retreating out with everything he got. Again, I feel like maybe he could have done something, but, it's not a bad decision to try and retreat. I'm going to pursue him, though, with everything I've got and try and punish him for this attack. I've already managed to kill one general. I'd love to kill another and maybe just do as much damage as physically possible. We've got more Parthians coming in as well, getting a great rear charge off on this infantry right here. Yeah, and my cavalry is going to pursue him. So as you can see, this was a brutal, a catastrophic failure on Darren's point of view for sure. And all this position is kind of just completely useless. So taking the hill just did not benefit him whatsoever. He has finally managed to get infantry in, but with the amount of archers and ill support they have, there's not really much they can do. And I think this battle is definitely defined by divide and conquer. Darren split his forces, and because I had all of that cavalry, I could just do what Parthia and Parthia-esque factions do best. I split him up. I took the advantages where his slow infantry couldn't reinforce. And I just waited for mistakes to be made, and they were. I don't think I'm any better than Darren at this game. In most pitched battles, me and Darren go toe-to-toe, and Darren even comes out on top on most of them. But in a battle like that, a battle like this, splitting your forces just had devastating effects. And, this that's the amazing thing about these battles. That engagement right there, we fought on a very similar map to this before. And Darren almost lost it. Literally, he was, 80% to win the battle, and he almost lost it. There was 2 units that managed to hold on, and he won. So that, really extremely close loss of almost getting absolutely upset and destroyed in a catastrophic, loss. He managed to just about win that. And last time, he deployed his entire army in a 40 stack and came down this way instead of taking the hills. Instead of taking his entire army up and going this way and then down, which I think would have been the good play in that battle, he decided to go in the open field and basically attack from all these multiple streets, expecting my garrison to be a little bit stronger. And that kind of defeat, that experience he had in the last battle, really encouraged him to take a hill. But his reinforcements didn't come on from this back point. His reinforcements came on all the way over here this time. And I think that kind of, oh, well, I should definitely take this hill, because last time that was one of the reasons I almost lost, really, implored him to take this hill of 20 units, expecting to then be able to reinforce with this 20 units. Obviously, I wasn't going to let that happen. So instead of building your army together and advancing in a slow box into the city, because I think the deployment zone was here, maybe he could have deployed up to, so he could have 20 units basically in the city in 30 seconds, and then having his reinforcements coming on a little bit later and making their way into the city with kind of all this covered by infantry. He could have been in the city so quickly. And once he was in this position, it would have been, I wouldn't be able to do hardly anything in this battle really besides harass him, but his archers would have been able to harass me and just do so much damage to me. So yeah, I think these previous experiences on battle maps like this just played such a huge role. It was crazy, and it just kind of encouraged him to make a mistake, because in the last battle, taking this hill was the key point, and that's something he didn't do, so he felt like he had to do it this time. So it's just battles like this, and that's why I love the campaign so much, is because there's just scenarios like that which just add so much flavor. And me and Darren have fought against each other multiple times, and we're starting to learn about our do's and don'ts and what we should try and do. And yeah, I think this is a telling battle for Darren of how he should deploy his map, or how he should deploy on the map, and what's really the better, is it better to have his army together? Is it better to take terrain? Especially over here as well, because the distance from traveling from here to here is really nothing compared to the distance to travel from here all the way over to here. It's a much bigger distance from this to that, So I just ended up really, really badly. The last 3 minutes, I'm basically just harassing him. I managed to get a nice charge off onto the siege artillery. These are expensive, and they do take quite a lot to take down. So I'm going to charge into them and try and kill them as much as I can. We'll just triple speed it. Darren does bring down some more infantry, I believe, as he tries to pull out the city. But yeah, this was a big blow to Darren's armies and his expansion. I mean, it's not really going to take him out too much because he does have armies, and this is kind of his last real opponent. So he's not really going to be too hurt from this, but, you know, pride-wise, I'm sure this battle hurt a bit. You know, it was probably really frustrating for him to lose these armies. And the fact that I managed to kill a general in this battle was huge. Generals are so important in the multiplayer campaign, because it really adds so much to the army stats and abilities, and allowing your troops to be able to do what they can do. Like, it's actually insane what generals can do. So the fact that I'm constantly killing his generals in these battles, whereas when I'm playing as Macedon, I'm keeping mine alive. I think I have multiple tier 10 generals. So it's just, you know, very annoying and frustrating, I imagine, for Darren to be able to fight a battle that he could have just auto-resolved. You know, he was 80% to auto-resolve this battle, but we wanted to fight this battle. And I honestly think it would have been fine if he just hadn't split up his armies like he did. He would have been able just to advance forward, use his artillery and archers to scare off my own cavalry, and just, you know, advance forward. And also, he would have had all of his cavalry together. So I think, you know, I managed to pick off, you know, at least like half of these horses before the battle really even began. So if Darren could have kept his cavalry together, he would have been able to not match me, but be close and just slowly advance forward. And if I tried anything, he could have quickly deployed infantry or skirmishes to help out. So it's just unfortunate that Darren did decide to split up his army there. And, you know, there's so many stuff like that, which just really creates a fun and interesting battle that has a lot of weight to it. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this one. I love using these cavalry armies. I doubt I'm going to be able to get to use them again. They're so much fun just to kind of harass and try and find unique ways to take away from the not having any infantry. I always love just trying to find the way to win. And as you can see, we were completely outnumbered, you know, by about 2,000 men, and we managed to kill 4,000 and only lose 1,000 horses. Unfortunately, this faction did later get taken out, but the battle stands. You know, this was just a great battle, and, you know, it really kind of cemented just how strong some of these horses are. They are really deadly, and yeah, hopefully I managed to delay Darren. Killing his artillery as well must have been painful, and yeah, it's just a fun battle, which really stems. You know, I've made mistakes like this before as well. You know, where you assume something, or you try and kind of try a new tactic, and it just really comes back to bite you, and, you know, it has consequences on the campaign map. But anyway, hopefully you guys enjoyed this. I'll see you in the next one, and fish out.